All right.
My
What's
pleasure.
going on? Good morning, everyone. This is Jay Stan of Controversial Topics. And today I have a special guest. Stay out the way, Trey. He's a YouTube sensation on YouTube and he's blowing up. He served 16 years out of the Department of Corrections out of the state of Virginia. There you go, Trey.
How y'all doing, man? First of all, let me thanks Jay Stan, man, for bringing me on this podcast right here, man. I'm definitely excited about doing my first interview, man. And I'm here now, man. So here to answer any questions you got, brother.
All right, let's go. Let's get into it. So this category we're gonna be talking about is gonna be early life and crime. Can you describe what your life was like before you was incarcerated?
If I had to describe my life before I was incarcerated, I could say that my life was kind of middle class. I was actually with my mom. My mom and father actually split before we moved to Virginia, and they recently, I'm not recently, but they got back together before I got locked up in 2000. But I'll say if I had to explain what kind of life it was middle class. Where we lived at in South Carolina was more poverty. Then we got to Virginia, it was middle class. So if I had to describe my life, I'm not gonna lie about it. It's definitely middle class. I wasn't my family wasn't poor. My mom worked every day, took care of kids, and that's what it was.
All right. That sounds great. So it would sound like you had for the most part you had both parents in the household. That's great. And
Right.
sometimes I grew up both of my parents as well. So things can derail with both parents in the household. So a lot of times we just have to go through things, to understand things sometimes.
Right.
So my second question, how did your mindset and surroundings as a teenager influence the decisions that led you to your incarceration at such young age?
That's a good question, Jay, man. I'll say, man, the influences and like the stuff that was surrounded around me. I don't really think it was a lot of that kind of steered me to doing crimes. I'll say what steered me to doing crimes was just out of curiosity. It was like already I had maniac in my system from the state that I moved from. My whole family out there. I have a big family in South Carolina, so it was like moving from South Carolina to Virginia was a big transition. I really didn't want to come here, but as I look at it now, I see that my mom did it to save us. You know what I mean? From there. So
Right.
when I got here, it was like I still had that badness in my system, and it was just like it was just there. So that's why it didn't matter where I lived or how I lived. It was like I still had like slight evil running through me a little bit, man.
Gotcha. So I see you taking self accountability for your actions. You
Right.
realize a lot of teens and a lot of young adults get in trouble. They tend to blame everything on their parents and stuff. You
Right.
already knew at a young age that you had that in your system, and it was nothing basically no one could do about it until you made up the
It's a
mind
fact.
to do right yourself.
That's a fact, Jay, man. Like I feel like I was gonna like my journey happened like it was supposed to happen. Like it was I was running around like I was just bad, man. Like I told you, I didn't have to be. Like I wasn't in the area I had to be. I wasn't like my parents, like they wasn't poor or nothing like that. I just was naturally somebody that was just curious with crimes, like just doing
Yeah,
crimes. And stealing leads to this, and you start from this, and you know what I mean? You
yeah,
graduate to that. And the older you got, even though I got locked up at 17, it was like, our generation was a little different. We grew up faster, like, so
yeah,
at 12, we being extra bad, like somebody as a 16-year-old would be. So I
yeah.
just, just kind of like just went with the motions, man. And those curiosities of trying to be bad as hell, it caught up with me. It caught up
It
with me,
does.
man.
It will in due time. Trust me. So the third question: what was you going through? What was going through your mind when you first got arrested and you realized you were facing a long prison sentence? Like, what was your initial
Um,
thought when you first got arrested? If you can go back in time and reminisce that thought.
Damn, Jay, man, like to go back to those memories, man, always scary moments for me, man. But like to go back to that time right there, like I'll say when I really didn't know it was over. I'm not even gonna lie to you, Jay. I didn't think that I was gonna get the type of time that I received. Now I know I was out there doing like adult crimes. I was doing
Yeah.
bad things, but I still felt like I wasn't gonna get that type of time that they gave me, which is 18 years. But at the same time, though, like when they when they put the cuffs on me and I was still 17 years old, and then so after they interrogated us, they had to get my mom there because I was still a minor.
Yeah.
After all that happened, and I had to go to court that morning. Like I was thinking that the judge was going to release me to my mom. You know what I mean? I was still 17. So when I went to court, like, the judge kind of was like disgusted that, that somebody like did all this and, he really didn't have to. So he told the prosecutor asked for me to stay. Like he wanted me to stay in, so I guess their plan was to keep me in the detention home and then send me to jail on my birthday, which was the next month because I got locked up in September and my birthday's in October. But
Wow.
like I knew it was over with when I didn't get out that day, though. Basically, when I didn't get out that next morning, I knew it was over.
So basically, the judge was trying to wait till you turn 18.
I mean, I felt like he just wanted me just to like he wasn't released. Usually as an adult, they will release you to your parents. Like you can have a gun charge as an adult, all type of charges. I mean, as a minor, but
Yeah.
When I went in there, I had 4 robberies, 4 use of firearms, 4 conspiracies. So that's 12. That's 12 felonies right there if you think about it. So they charged me for every robbery. They charged me for a gun charge from every robbery. And since they say that we kind of planned it, like they gave us the conspiracies. So it was 12 felonies. So like I guess he was just feeling like it was just crazy to see somebody this, mess his life up like this. So he was just trying to, I guess, teach me a lesson. Like, yo, send him to the detention home, let him learn his lesson. But I was turning 18 probably in 3 weeks. So
Yeah,
I never got out ever since.
He knew that. That was his plan. That was the judge's plan.
I believe that.
Wait till you turn 18. Now you are officially an adult, even though you did those crimes at 17 and a half. So now he just wanted you to be in his jurisdiction now where he can have a say so of things because he felt a certain type of way personally in your case.
Right.
He felt some type of way personally. So he wanted to hold you until you turn 18.
Exactly.
That's what it was all about.
My luck was bad around that time, Jay, man. I just all the way around the board, man. We're gonna get into it. My luck was bad.
All right, next question for you. What were your initial thoughts and feelings when you first entered the Virginia Department of Corrections at 18?
You talking about as far as the jail, or you talking about in prison?
No, Virginia Department of Correction, the prison. How did you cope with the shock of being incarcerated? Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't 18. I was 18 when I went to Virginia Beach jail. When you go to the jail, you still fight your case for like a year and a half, whatever. So by the time I got to Virginia to corrections, I'll say I was 21, about to be 21.
Let's back it up, man. So how was it? Okay, let's talk about your stay in jail. My bad, I got a little bit ahead of
you good
ahead of myself. So how was it when you turned 8? You were 17, then 3 weeks later you turned 18. That's when they sent you to the Virginia Beach jail.
Yes, they sent me to jail. They sent me to jail, man. And like I remember that day like it was like that day will always be in my mind. That's one of the things that's in my mental mind, like in the back of my mind. It kind of like reality checks me. Like you don't forget about that, because I can remember it was my birthday. Like this was my first birthday that it wasn't ever fun for me. Like, so I was in the detention home. I didn't get no visit, which I couldn't get no visit on this day. And I can just remember being in there, and it was like 10 o'clock, man. They came and they called my name. They told me I had to pack up, and they told me I was going to Virginia Beach jail. They took me to Virginia Beach jail, which wasn't far from this area. And all I know is I was going from teenagers, being around the teenager situation, to now I'm about to be around adults. So that was a whole scary situation for a teenager to go through too, man. So like the way I was feeling scared. I ain't even gonna lie. Like this was like, you can be tough as however you was on the street. But like to go from detention home to jail is a major transition. Like, of course I dealt with it. You know what I mean? I didn't go in there and tuck my tail, but I still was within myself. I was scared, though. I ain't gonna lie. That's a scary thing to go through. It was a scary. I was a little shook, Jay. I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't gonna lie to you on that one.
So you stayed in this jail for 18 months?
I would say I was in there. I got there October 2000. And they sent me to receiving, which is the beginning of prison. They sent me in March 2002. So how long is that?
Yeah, it's a little over a year.
Yeah,
oh
about a year and
02?
a half.
Yeah, you said
March
you was in
'02.
01?
March '02.
Okay.
My birthday was in 2000 in October. So you count 3 months from there, then 12 months from all of 2001. So that's 15 months. Then
Okay, got you. Yeah.
from January to March is another 3. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll say 18 months, like you said, you guessed it on the head. About 18 months I was in there, Jay.
Wow.
Definitely.
Wow.
And it was crazy. It was
Wow.
crazy, man.
In the early 2000s, man, I can remember those
Early
times.
2000,
Good,
man.
yeah,
Yeah.
good time to be alive, but not a good time to be incarcerated, I would say. But
I mean, there
so
wasn't no gangs yet, but still though, like they, but
they
it
was
ended
on the
up
way.
coming, man.
They was
But
on the way.
they was on the way. Yeah, they was on the way. They definitely was on the way. They was just forming. They was forming. They just say, multiply yet. They was forming.
Jesus Christ.
Crazy time, though. Crazy time.
So leaving the jail, and then you went to where you left after you left. Where you went after the jail, after Virginia Beach
I
jail.
went
Where
to
did
a
you
place
go?
after I left Virginia Beach, Jay. I went to they have in Virginia, they have these things called receiving prisons.
Yeah.
Now, receiving prisons, like this is where they send you like for classification, basically. Like you go there for a short amount of time, they
Yep.
classify you to find out where your level is going to be, and whatever your level is going to be is going to determine what prison you're going to go to.
Gotcha.
So I was sent to Deep Meadows, which is like close to the Richmond, Petersburg area. Like the State Farm is on the State Farm, but
Okay.
it's a regular prison now. But back then it was receiving.
Wow.
So they sent me there. Yeah, they sent me there, man. But it was, I was happy to leave the jail. Once you're in the jail for that long, like, you can't really get air. You can't play ball. You can't do nothing. You can't really work out like that. So like, it was just good leaving the jail. You know what I mean? But I wasn't at that receiving place long. They kept me there like probably like a month at the most. If it was a month, then I got transferred to Sussex too, to where I was going to be at.
So now you in prison. So it's
prison. I'm in prison. I'm in there. This is a prison where they still had the Lawton inmates. Like DC had,
DC.
everything in DC is federal. Everything in DC is federal
Yeah.
crimes. So they had their own federal prison for just DC. So that
Wow.
prison used to be called Lawton, which you can look that up. They had a documentary on HBO back in the day when I was growing up, and I saw it. That's why it was crazy ironic to go through this, because I actually watched that on HBO, and Lawton was like a wild prison. Like it was people dying, all type of stuff. So they closed it. So they was just going to ship them all out all around the country into the federal prisons. You see what I'm saying? So
wow.
Before they done that, they had to put them somewhere. So they had just built Sussex 1 and Sussex 2 the beginning of 2000. Sussex 1 was already a level 5, which is across the street from where I was at. So they made Sussex 2 a level 4, which where I went at. But before we got there, when we got there, the Lawton inmates were still there, but they was transition moving them out. So they just kept us locked down, and they started sending all of them to different places in the feds. We never had contact with them. We saw them, but we never, no contact. But yeah, that was the beginning. That was the beginning.
So how you felt when you first got there and you saw some of the Lawton inmates? How did you feel?
Man, like for real, when we got there, we didn't even know they was there. That somebody told us. Then we're walking down the boulevard to go to our building. So when we going down the boulevard, we could see them like they in the cafeteria, like they working in the cafeteria. You can like they looking at us, and they looking at us like we look scared, which we probably did. You know what I mean? Because they just the little scared straight program that they run when you get off the bus is like extreme. You know what I mean? Like we wasn't prepared for that. Everybody first time, people probably. That the way they get you off the bus is crazy, Jay, man. But yeah, so we already shell shocked from that. We walking down the boulevard and we see a few of them, you know what I mean? We used to see them here and there, but it never was no contact, man. But DC got a heavy presence in federal prisons. Like you can ask anybody that been to federal prison, like they usually go to war with DC dudes. DC dudes kind of run a lot of spots because, like I say, anybody that gets locked up in DC goes to federal prison. So them dudes look rough, man. Those dudes that look rough, they look like they joke around. You know what I mean? Like, and that's how it's supposed to look. Like, so we got there, we seen them. They passed out some trays a couple times. They was cool dudes though. They weren't on no rah-rah stuff though. They was cool, down to earth type of people.
Okay. Wow. So how long do you serve? How many? As a matter of fact, how many prisons you went to in the state of Virginia?
I've been to if you want to count that receiving, 4.
4, okay.
But three actually without counting the receiving, but counting the receiving, like I mean, that's part of the journey. So 4.
Yeah. So you didn't
4.
really get transferred too often then.
I did. I got to Sussex in 02. I didn't get
Yeah.
transferred from there until 09. So I
Oh
did
man.
7.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did 7. I did
Oh,
7. Like, so what I'm saying, I'm one of the ones from the beginning. Like, I did a minute up there.
so you
So
just
like
on Sussex 2,
Sussex 2, yup. See,
and
it
you
was
never
cool to
went to
be up there
1,
though, Jay.
huh?
No, I never made it. Like dudes was making it to, like I told you, that was a level 5. So I never really like they was
Okay.
already like that was,
Yeah.
yeah, that
That
was
was
a
already
wild
turned
jail
up.
over
Yeah.
there. So no, I never
See.
wanted to go there. Our jump was wild, but that was wilder. But
Yeah.
nah, but you know, in the beginning though, Jay, man, you gotta understand, like Sussex was cool because it was close to Tidewater. It was like right in the middle. It was really closer to Richmond, but like an
Mhm.
hour and shit, like an hour 20 minutes from Tidewater. So like
Okay.
it was,
Gotcha.
you know, you get visits. In the beginning, the yard used to be wide open. They used to let, you know, when they finally got rid of all the DC inmates and we was all transitioned, all the Virginia inmates, like, you know, the yard used to be cool. Everybody out on the yard, like it was kind of like how Lawrenceville was slightly, you know, without all the defenses and bars. But you know, I wasn't trying to leave there, Jay. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I was cool with
Yeah.
Sussex, man, for a while.
So how long did it take you to get used to prison? Like how was your first initial year in prison? Like the early
Green.
years?
I was green, Jay, man. I was green. I ain't gonna lie to you, Jay. I was green. I would run around just being like super green, like still trying to fight, just doing stupid stuff, man. And like I wasn't used to it. I knew I wasn't used to it yet because I still wasn't ordering my property right. Like my mom probably sent me the money to get a, because back then we couldn't even get a colored TV in the beginning. So like
Oh
everybody had the
wow.
little black and white TVs. Yeah, we had the black and
Man.
white. This is back early 2000, yeah. So we had the little small black and white TV, Jay. I ain't joking. She sent me like the $60 like 3-4 times to get that TV. And I wouldn't get it. I ended up getting it eventually, but I
Mhm.
was just running around being crazy, man. Like just trying to, you know, trying to learn prison. But it, you know, it takes probably about a year or so. Then you finally start seeing what prison is. You start seeing
Yeah.
like how can you get through this? Like you gotta have these thoughts in yourself with yourself, man, because it's gonna be hard making it through. So I end up catching on probably like a year and a half, 2 at the most, I'll say.
Yeah, I was asking that, man, because that's a lot of time that you caught at a young age. A lot of people get lost in that
Nice.
system. So I just wanted to know, like in your early years, what was it like for a young Trey? You know, you were trying to stay out the way back then, or you was in the way back then?
Man, that's a that's a good question because it's probably was both. I'm gonna
Yeah,
say both though, Jay, man. I'm gonna say both, man, because um like thinking back all the way back then, like you know, I was somebody that like Norfolk is like that city is like one of the major cities in Virginia. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So like like it's a lot of being from Norfolk, like it's you're gonna get into stuff with your dudes, with your homeboys, man. So
yeah,
like, I stayed getting into stuff, so you can say that I was in the way, but still, I used to be the smart one out the crew. They kind of used to kind of talk people into kind of like, look, let's do this, but we ain't gotta do this. Like, let's do this. Let's try to get this. But we ain't gotta kill nobody. We kill somebody, we going across the street of the mountains. Like, no,
yes,
look, let's fight. Like, you know what I mean? I used to be that person. So I'll say I was staying in the damn way by wilding sometimes, riding with my peoples. But a lot of the times I used to try to peacemake. Like I used to try to like get everything straight, man, because you can't really do nothing when there's a lot of violence going on. Violence is gonna
yeah,
happen, but still though, I was smart enough to see that if I can get dudes to understand it's a better way, especially my
yeah.
dudes, that's what I'm gonna be. So I did that a lot too. So I'll say it was both. If I had to use, if I had to say, that's my answer. I'll say it was both. I was in the way and out the way sometimes.
You just trying to figure things out. Young,
That's all.
gang of
That's
time,
all, Jay.
gang of time on your hands, so you just still trying to figure things out. And plus, when you're young, you're
Right.
gonna you're gonna do reckless things anyway. So my next question
Facts.
I want to ask, do you run into any military guys? Because I know Norfolk has a military base, and a lot of guys in the military get in trouble and end up going to state prisons. So do you run into any military guys while you was incarcerated?
Man, real crazy quick story, Jay, man. Like I ain't gonna lie, like when my mom lived at excuse me, when my mom lived at in
But
Norfolk, like it was some guys that was actually from Chicago that was in the military. So they was like in the gang, you know what I mean? Like they was in the Navy, but they was like GDs and vice lords from Chicago. Like, so after it was all said and done, they end up bucking on the military. They stopped going. I guess they dropped out. His wife moved back to Chicago, and they just was running around like they were street dudes, man. So like I actually knew these dudes right here personally because they live right by me, but they ended up getting locked up like in '99 before I did for some whole bunch of robberies. And I ran into them. Like I ran in with two of them. I ran into two of them, and one of them was a Muslim. One of them was just they done their bid, but they ended up getting like 16 years, 17, and they done their bids. But those were the only military dudes that I say I ran into. You know, I wouldn't say it was a lot in there. If I did, I probably didn't know. But those were the two. Those were the guys that I ran into, though.
Yeah, it happens a lot.
Cool dudes too.
Yeah, people be surprised. It's a lot of military personnel, former military people that's serving time in these states, Department of Corrections.
Right. Definitely is.
So you did 7 years at Sussex. So how was your run on Sussex? Like overall, like if you could give it a letter grade, like far as you getting in trouble, staying out of trouble, staff, and the inmates, was Sussex a good facility for you, or?
I say it was a good facility for me because, like I said, like, you know, I got visits. Like, you know, it wasn't far. Like, you know, if you meet a girl or somebody like that, and they're, you know, like from the Tidewater area, like it's a hop, skip, and a jump. I mean, you're not far away from your family, even though you're in prison. You know, and like, you know, being in prison, I went through the steps of, you know, I finally started being a dude that, you know, I try to get some money in there. I ain't even gonna lie. Like, I felt like hustling in prison was kind of like one of my major survival tactics, because I started witnessing that, like, you know, it's sad to say, you know, that drugs actually was the top currency. Like, it ran prison. So like you can be somebody that, you know, that's not even really nobody, but if you got the drugs and the right people, like, you will have all the power. You see what I'm saying? So like, me being a good thinker like I was, like, you know, I just felt like, you know, it's kind of two birds with one stone, because I kind of want to take care of myself while I'm in there. I don't want to depend on, you know, even though my mom would send me $50 here and there, you know, every now and then, like I didn't want to depend on nobody. I grew to be an independent man in prison, if you understand what I'm saying. Like, I became really independent, and I took care of myself. So hustling came into play because that's what I wanted to do. So when I started doing that, it kind of made Sussex more fun, you know, like trying to chase that situation, because when you're chasing that situation, it makes the week go by, it makes the months go by, and next thing you know, the years are going by. So that became like my number one thing that I started doing on Sussex. I wasn't a top drug dealer. I'm not saying that I was the one that had like dudes just went crazy up there. I'm not one of those dudes. I just was somebody that tried to keep a situation, because regardless with the situation, you still got power, even if you don't have as much as the next man. You know what I mean? So I just try to you know, make sure I was good in there, man. That's it, Jay.
Got you. I respect that. I can understand that. You just basically was just like you said, it's a survival mode, and you just trying to take care of yourself.
Right.
You didn't want to be a burden on your family. You felt like you was kind of like a burden on your family. You got yourself locked up, and then you was asking, you know, for funds and stuff here. You understood the dynamics of your mom and your parents now paying bills on the outside. So you try to make their life less stressful as possible. That's what I'm taking out the message.
Yeah, you're definitely right. You hit it on the head. You hit it on the head, Jay.
So what's the most time you ever did in isolation, and why?
I ain't gonna lie to you, Jay. It's crazy because, like, on Sussex, only time I went to the hole was for all dirty urines. Like, I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, Jay, I ain't gonna lie, but ask anybody that know me, man. Like, only time I used to go to the hole was for dirty urines. So like, I would get away with everything else but that. And it was like, when they come for you, like, you know, dudes used to drink the water and do all. The water didn't work for me. I don't know, because I was a big guy or what. The water did not work for me, Jay. So like, I would fail the test every time, and that's how they were like. I'll have a good run, a month, 8 months, 9 months of doing good, getting a little money. Next thing you know, they come with the cup, and I'm done, man. So from the first time I caught my first dirty one, I actually went to the hole like in June. the end of June, and I didn't get out until right before my birthday, which was in October. So that I did like almost 4 months back there.
Gotcha.
And that was a
Wow.
long stretch. Like, that's a
Yeah.
long stretch in Virginia. Like, dudes do longer. I probably heard, but like just being in there for 3.5, 4 months, the whole summer was like, when I got out, I ain't gonna lie, Jay, I was skinny. When I
Yeah.
the people see me when I got out, they was like, damn, bro, you done got little. Up to that's what the whole do to you though. So like I was little as hell. So that was like the longest I did on my first time back there. The longest I did was like almost 4 months.
So when you go to isolation for a dirty urine, do they search your cell afterwards? Like try to tear your cell apart to see if you got anything in there?
Actually, they don't. Like they used to just like they started. If you go look at one of my stories, Jay, man, I don't know if you saw this about the investigator on Sussex 2, man. Like he was a guy that tricked everybody. Like he was a CEO that was cool, and then next thing you know, like he coming through with regular street clothes on. He's the investigator, but as being a cool guy, he knows all the secrets. He know how people look when they hide. He know how people like. He just knew because dudes used to trust him. Like. Man, and he created the cut the water off situation, cut the water off on the whole pod, and he'll take like the whole top tier to the gym to get it pissed. So like, you know what I mean? They didn't tell you to sail up. They just wanted to piss. Once they get you for a dirty urine, you'll know the next day, and then you go to the hole the next day. They never really, if they coming to tell you to sell up, they coming to tell you to sell up. But it never be like both. It'll just be for that, for that dirty urine.
So how was that experience for that guy when everybody found out that he was an investigator? Did he ever come back again as a CEO, or that was no?
He's like one of the top dudes in Richmond now. Like he is. Like he's like one of the top investigators, like for the whole state of Virginia now. And I'm telling you, Jay, man, I watched this man sit in a chair in our pod. This back when like this beginning 2003, 2004. This back, you can still buy tobacco with Black and Miles and Newports and all that stuff on commissary. So dudes smoking in the pod, but you don't supposed to. You're supposed to smoke in your cell or outside. That's where they wanted you to smoke at. But dudes smoking in the pod. It's going down. So dudes smoke weed in the pod, like all the way in the back, just right out in the open, like just blowing. I watched this man come to work, sit in his chair, watch everybody. Cool dudes talking to him, trying to get him to do something. He listening to all the lingo. Like, it was just wild. I seen the whole transition. And when he became the investigator, man, like he really was doing his job. Like he cleaned Sussex. That's why I left. I was like, I can't beat this man. They was never pissing people like that. They was not pissing people like that until he started like doing what he was doing, man. Like, it was a crazy impact, man. Cause he did a J Reed on everybody, man.
So this
dude did a J Reed, man.
So this dude was basically studying y'all inmates. He was just studying the inmates' behavior.
The whole time, Jay. Like just watching, like dudes is like, yo, hey, look, man, this is how dudes do. Like he was cool enough to go have those conversations. So I know people were having those conversations. Like it was even rumors that he used to. I don't think he brought drugs, but it was rumors that he used to bring like books, watches, stuff like that. But I guess that was just part of the protocol because like he's one of those white dudes that act like I wouldn't say he act black, but like he one of those cool surfer type of dudes, like surfer got the buzz cut, like freckles. Like, man, I couldn't stand him, man. Real talk. I couldn't stand him.
Sound like he was ahead of his time.
He had knocked me 3 times. Yeah.
Sound like he was ahead of his time.
Man. He was scary, man. Like he knew things. He knew things. Like when stuff happened, like he used to know things. Like, and that's what really made me see. I had to stop smoking weed to get off of a Sussex 2. I had to stop because you gotta go charge free for a whole year to get your level dropped to a 3. So Sussex is a 4. So you gotta go no charges, nothing on your light, shirt tucked in. No, you can't curse nobody out. You can't have not one charge if you want to get dropped to a 3. If you get dropped to a 3, you can get a transfer. So that's what everybody started doing. So when I finally made it, because he done caught me 2-3 times for the dirties.
Yeah.
So when I finally made it, like I can remember, like when I got called to property, like when they finally told me to pack up to take my stuff, I'm taking my stuff to property, and out of nowhere, right before I go in the building, he just appeared out of nowhere, like from the lieutenant's office, and he called me. He was like, "Hey, White." I was like, I seen him. I'm like, oh. He like, I know where you're going at. You're going to Lawrenceville. He said, you're going to Lawrenceville. He said, Don't get all twisted up in them cell phones and all that stuff they got going on. If I hear your name, I'm coming back to get you. And I didn't even know what to say to him when he was saying these things. I was just like, all right. And I just walked away. But I was like, damn, he know I was leaving. He know everything, man. He was wild. He was a wild guy, man.
Wow.
He was a wild guy.
Did you ever run to him again in your bed?
I seen him one time on Lawrenceville, right? Like they had like every blue moon, they'll have like the people from Richmond, they'll come like do a walkthrough. And I can remember being in a pod and you know, I hear somebody hit the police noise and I come to the door and look, it's like 6 white people coming in the pod. I'm like, what? Yeah. So everybody looking. So everybody come out. So I come out my cell and I look and I see him come in. I was like, it was too late for me to like dip. So I'm like, I'm stuck. I'm like, damn, I see him. And he walked in, he looked, and he seen me. He was like, he hit one of them jumps. I just turned my head, like, man, leave me alone, man. But yeah, he ain't come for war. He ain't come for war, nothing. But they was doing they was doing a walkthrough. That was the last time I seen that man. But I was so happy when I left Sussex 2 to get away from him. Oh my God.
The Terminator right there, man.
Terminator, man. It was that man coming. He's coming. Ask anybody, Jay. He coming. Ask Al when you talk to him. They coming. Hey, his name Hayes. His name is Hayes. He is coming. He is coming, man.
So, can you speak on your transition from Sussex to Sussex? Where is it?
Sussex.
Okay, Sussex.
Yeah.
To Lawrenceville. Can you speak on that? Your first month in Lawrenceville, how that experience was?
Man, my first month in Lawrenceville, man, I felt like I was almost home, Jay, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, it was so, like, the transition was, like, Sussex started getting so great. Like, they started putting gates in front of gates and, like, they didn't want no contact from nobody. Like, they made Sussex end up looking like a maze. Right now, it looks like a maze from the whole inside design of it. Like, it's gates everywhere. So, like, they get to Lawrenceville, like, you know, and walk into somewhere that looks like a college dorm. When you get a chance, Jay, Google Lawrenceville, and you'll see it on some of my thumbnails. Like the one I just did, that's a little piece of Lawrenceville right there. But it's no comparison, man. It's you know, Lawrenceville have no towers on it. Like, there's no towers surrounding the prison, which is weird. And, you know, it's ran by GEO. So GEO is like a privately owned prison, which a lot of federal prisons usually subcontract through, if you see what I'm saying. Like a lot of federal prisons, like they'll subcontract from like prisons called like GEO. It'd be different little names, but we had one right in Emporia, Virginia. So everybody from Emporia, Virginia works at that place. Everybody in the surrounding areas of Emporia, Virginia works at that prison. Like, that's their income. That's, you know, besides the police force, it's the jail, you know. So like, that whole transition was just like, I felt like I almost was like, it felt good because I walked into like just a better prison. Now, it was gangland, you know. I just, you know, Sussex was gangland too, but this was a different type of gangland because this was all different gang members. I wasn't used to seeing the gang members on Lawrenceville. So like, besides the gangland, and, you know, that was like the only negative that I can say. Everything else was a positive, man. Like, great prison, man. Like, for real. Like, I encourage anybody to get to Lawrenceville, man. Lawrenceville was like that joint was beautiful, Jay, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. It made another 7 years go by like this.
So out of all the 4 prisons that you served time at, which prison that you witnessed the most violence?
Sussex 2.
Okay.
Sussex 2, man. Sussex 2 was this place, you know, when I first got there, once everybody got settled, you know, so I'm gonna say 2004, 2005. Like, that's now everybody's settled. A lot of prisons then came up there. The DC dudes been gone. So it's a Virginia prison. So back then, while the gangs are coming in, you still had cities. It was like cities ran together. Like, it wasn't like I heard before my time, before my generation, it was like Tidewater against Richmond and all that. Like, I guess everybody from Tidewater coming. It wasn't like that when I was doing time. It was cities like Norfolk, hang with Norfolk, Portsmouth, hang with Portsmouth. Everybody will talk, but like, as far as who you hanging with people from your city, definitely. So yeah, it gets violent when it's like that, Jay, man. You gotta understand, they take all the wild people from, you know, from every city in the state, and they put them in a prison. Like, it's hard to get along when it's like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to have peace 24 hours.
especially Richmond being the capital, correct? They got the numbers then.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. They have numbers. They have numbers. They're not the biggest city, which somebody told me in my comments, which I didn't know, but it's still the capital, man. You know, it's a lot
Yeah,
of them, man. It's a
exactly.
lot of Richmond dudes. It's a
Yeah,
lot of
so
them dudes, and they stick together. Like they
yeah,
stick together. Like it went, you know, I don't blame them too though. Like that's prison. Like they stick together. I met a lot of cool dudes from Richmond, man. But like it just not just because it was Richmond on Richmond, like just I mean Richmond against like dudes from Tidewater or whatever. Like it just used to be violence up there. Like I seen somebody get killed up there. I seen a lot of stabbings up there. I seen a lot of weapons up there. I seen a lot of violations up there. Like I seen a lot of predators up there. Like that's where the majority of the predators were at. Like that's where they was at. So like I seen it a lot more on Sussex. Like Lawrenceville was more like dudes was more feeling like this, Jay, like that. Like it switched, the whole dynamic switched because when I got to Lawrenceville, it was like everybody was more like it was wild. Like the building they put me in was a few wild dudes, like a lot of wild dudes. But the other buildings on the compound, dudes was more so on, I'm not trying to leave this place. So if it's like that, you got to understand there's going to be a lot more peace. And if it is violence, the violence is going to try to keep like on the low. Like it's going to be violence on the low. Some things you can't really hide, but a lot of people not trying to leave Lawrenceville. So like it wasn't a lot of violence like Sussex.
So basically it was kind of like a lot of strategic movement, like a
facts.
Okay,
facts. Somebody died on Lawrenceville though when I was there.
Yeah, that's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. But Sussex just was violence, knives everywhere. I didn't like the knife game. I hated that. Like, because I feel like you gotta hide it. If I get caught with it, Jay, I'm going to the mountains. Like, you know what I mean? Hey, I wasn't with that, Jay, man. So like, you know, I was trying to get away from knives. Like Sussex had too many damn knives. So I got to get to Lawrenceville, which one a lot of dudes. Dudes probably had them, but like you say, strategic situations going on. There ain't a whole lot of crazy stuff.
So when people get sent to the mountains, how many they have to do some years, correct, before they get able to leave?
Yeah, it takes you. I think if just say if I get caught with a cell phone on Lawrenceville and they send me to Red Onion or Wallace Ridge, your level is gonna go from a 3 to a 5 or maybe a 6. It depends what your charge is, but you got to work your way down. You got to work your way back down. So like you will have to go charge free from there, probably like 2 years from the mountains. And then they'll send you to like somewhere back like Sussex, Nottaway, King Mountain. These are level 4s that I'm naming. And you have to work your way from there and pray and hope that you're lucky enough to get sent back to Lawrenceville, because there's more level 3s out there. It was just that like around that time, they was recycling a lot of dudes that mess up from Lawrenceville with dudes from Sussex too. That levels was switching. You feel what I'm saying? So like, like we was lucky enough to go to Lawrenceville around that time. But a lot of people, they might send to Greensville where they had Jay Williams and all of them at. You know what I mean? You might, well, Becky Pound, but like I never was there. I was there for 1 year. And that, you know, I just did 1 year on that John Jay, man. Just 1 year.
Yeah. So so you can get sent to the mountains for a cell phone, getting caught with a contraband.
Yeah.
I did not know that. I did not know that.
You out of there. You out of there. And you might get a street charge too.
What?
You might get a street charge.
Jeez.
Yeah, for that phone, man. Like they, you know, them phone, like for real, phone is a major breach of security, Jay. Like, you know, they don't want you. That's the last thing they want you with.
Man.
That's the last thing they want you with, man. Like, you know, their phone, they want to hear what you're talking about. They want to be able to monitor what you're talking about on the phone. You got that damn cell phone, you can call and get their ass hit.
Yeah, true.
They don't want that. You see what I'm saying? So they treat that phone serious.
The cell phones in 2024, they causing a lot of violence in prison because people are able to look people up and see what they really are charged with. They are like you said, make hits, contraband. So the cell phones are changing the game in the prison system. They have changed the game in the prison systems, and it's like a worldwide thing now. In every Department of Corrections, somebody got some cell phones in those prisons.
Right.
Yeah. So
I think they, Jay, to touch on that a little bit real fast. I think they like, you know, when I had cell phones, like you had to really hide it. Like you had to really be on like Like, you know, I never was one of those dudes. Even when I had a cell phone, I'm gonna get a Facebook and do all this. Like when I first got to Lawrenceville, I'm green. Like, you know, my roommate, we had got a phone, and you know, he made a Facebook for me because he had just got locked up, so he knew about all the new technology and all that. I didn't. I never got on it and like messed with it or nothing. But he made me one. But through the years after that, I never was one of those dudes. A lot of dudes used to get caught from Facebook and all that, Instagram.
Yeah, they
like,
do. Yeah.
And that's, you know, I never was one of those guys, man. Like, I stayed away from all that. Like, I used the phone, my phone, like, I started, like, this how I lasted long with a phone. And I never got caught with a phone, Jay, because I started, like, I started being disciplined enough to be like, my phone is only coming out probably like on a Wednesday, Thursday, and the weekend, because I'm taking care of the business around that time. I'm trying to make sure the business is there for the weekend come, we can get the business. And that's when I would use the phone. Like I wouldn't be one of them dudes that I'm in the room late night talking to my girl at 3 o'clock in the morning. A lot of dudes went down like that. See, once I started making disciplining myself, I saw the light. You know what I mean? I lost the phone in the beginning. After that, I was like, I'm never losing the phone again. It's easy because they let you have it. You just got to be smart with it. Like you can have it forever if you wanted to. You just got to be smart. You know what I mean? That's what I started doing. That's what I started doing. So I think they're in prison for a reason, man. To be honest with you, Jay, man. I think they let them have them now. They don't want you to have them, but they let people, all those people you see in the feds with the phones, they know those phones calm people down. So they trying to keep the tension and the violence down as much. So
they just
whatever it takes,
like,
they
don't
take
use it in my face. They basically like just respect me as an officer and don't use it in my presence.
That's a fact, Jay, man. Yeah. So like, it be killing me to see all. I be on Instagram and stuff. I be like, damn, he got a phone. Everybody got a phone.
Working out, like,
working out, cooking, niggas cooking swoles. I said, man, it's crazy, man. 2045 about to be here. Crazy.
So my next question: how much time did you serve on Lawrenceville?
I was on Lawrenceville from 2009 to 2016 February.
Oh, so you did.
So I did. 7? I did almost 7. Yeah, it was about 6 and 11 months because I got there in April. I want to say I got there in April in 2009.
So you did
almost 7.
You did a majority of your sentence on 2 installations. That's cool, I guess. Yeah.
And it went. That's why my bid went so fast, Jay. Man, I ain't even gonna lie. Like, you know, I looked up. I got 2 years left on Lawrenceville. I'm like, damn. So I didn't know they was gonna transfer me to Greensville, which you know they have the reentry program up there. They want everybody that's about to go home. You know, they want them to go through a reentry program. Probably somebody definitely like me because I've been locked up for a while. So you know, I was probably definitely on the list to go. But I seen dudes go home from Lawrenceville. I was mad when they shipped me though, Jay. Man, like I was like, man, come on, man. I thought I was gonna ride it out, man.
You was comfortable and everyone knew you. You had your own motion going on. So, hey,
right.
So how was
it? Was
that
a blessing
trip?
in the sky.
It was a blessing in the skies.
What you say?
Can you explain why it was a blessing in the skies?
It was a blessing in the skies, Jay, man, because look, like at the time, before I get transferred, like I'm going through my washed up time. Like if you go through my stories, just kind of after like where I said prick from South Boston, I lost my phone all the time. Like, so this like 2015. Like I'm just going through washed up. Like for real, I'm just looking like, man, for real, it's a wrap, man. Like just go home, bro. So I'm chilling, you know, I'm back talking to my wife, everything going smooth. And my homeboy moved in the pod that I knew from middle school. So when he moved in the pod, like, you know, he got time to do. So like he trying to get it jumping immediately. So he had a situation with his peoples over in the other building on the other side of y'all. And he was like, look, bro, I need 400, bro. If you can get me 400, I'm gonna put 400 and we can get this. And I thought about it. But like just being in there so long, Jay, man, that's like it was stupid for me to do, but I jumped right back into the game again. Like it was like it fell right in my lap. Next thing you know, me and him, we got weed. Next thing you know, we buying a cell phone together. I'm talking to my wife on a cell phone now. Like she's worried, but like still was just comfortable. She know I carry it, but I was wilding, man. So I said it was a blessing in disguise because I felt like God was like, no, listen, like, you know, I'm not gonna let you go out like this. Like you need to go ahead and get some discipline. You need to go ahead and get your mind right. Let's go ahead and start working out. Let's get ready for the streets. So out of nowhere, they transferred me. And I didn't want to leave, man. But, you know, after I was on that bus and I was thinking, Jay, I was just like, damn, it's a blessing in disguise, man. Like, you know, you want to have your mind ready for the streets. Like you don't want to, you don't want to go home like with too much bad habits you was doing a couple of weeks ago before you get out. Like you don't want to do your bid like that.
Absolutely,
So,
absolutely. So how much time did you have to serve at Greenville before going home? How long you was on
like
Greensville?
1 year, like 1 year, Jay, man. I went home in March. I went home in March. I got there like the end of February, and I went home in March. So I'll just round it to a year. It was a year, you know. So like, you know, I can know after being on Sussex 2 in Lawrenceville, you gotta understand, I'm feeling like a real seasoned vet now, Jay, man. Like,
Yeah,
you know
definitely.
what I mean? I'm feeling like a real vet in prison now. You know, like I can handle anything. Like, but like where they put me at was crazy. Like I didn't understand. Like, but you know, that happened for a reason too. So I just kind of like went with the punches, man. But you know, I was they sent me to a building where it's an intake pod, and next door was a go home pod. But upstairs is regular population. So like it was just a regular building, but a pod was intake where they sent me at first. Next door was like a slight go home pod. So my roommate was an old dude. They put me over there with an old dude. Long story short, me and him got into it because he was a psycho. I told the lady to move me. I was like, get me out of the cell. I was like, look, I'm not gonna stay in here. I have to end up beating this old dude up, mess my time up. She was like, all right, I got you. I'm thinking she gonna move me in the pod somewhere. She was like, no. She moved me across the hall. So I had knew a dude from Lawrenceville over there. You know, I ended up knowing the dude. So he giving me the rundown. He like, look, this is the go home joint. But he was like, they got a lot of old heads in here. You know what I mean? So he was like, the old heads are like the ones that's trying to make parole. So they teach classes, they run programs. Some of them do a lot of things. He was like, it's those dudes and they're dudes that's like kind of like with them that they let come in there. You know what I mean? Like they got their homeboys in there or whatever the situation was. So it was like a slash maniac pod, slash old head pod, slash go home pod, all wrapped in one, man. So I dealt with that for a year. But like I said, I was a seasoned vet, man, but I was able to get through that jump, Jay.
Did you learn anything from the re-entry program or not? Don't sound like it was too.
Hey Jay, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I feel like that reentry program is just something that they set up that they getting money off now from through the state. I don't really think it helps nobody. Like I'm happy that it can help, you know, people like Banky Pound. You know, a lot of people use those situations to actually help them with their parole. You know, if somebody has a life sentence and they trying to show they rehabilitated and they can survive in a go home pod and run a program, a class in there, like it's a good look when they go up to the parole board. So I'm happy that it helps those guys. But as far as guys that's about to go home, like it was classes and, you know, you talk about situations, but like, I just feel like, you know, like that's not really, you know, you just gotta, bro, if somebody's gonna come back, Jay, they're gonna come back, man. If you're not ready in your mind to come out here and be strong, mentally strong within yourself, you're gonna go back. And that's just how it's designed. So like I was already like saying in my head, even though I did all the wrong things in prison to survive, I wasn't coming home to emulate that. I was coming home to actually do the right thing. You know, I feel like God blessed me to get back with my wife, and you know, we're going through a good situation, and I didn't want to blow that. So I was like, I'm coming out here to move right. Like it was already in my mind, and moving from Lawrenceville helped me with that. So like that was, you know, that Greensville place was cool. Like, but I wasn't there long to really know a lot of dudes. I didn't meet a lot of dudes. It was shocking that it wasn't even a lot of Norfolk dudes where I was at, but like I just, you know, I just dealt with it. I started working out. I'll talk to my wife in the evening, work out in the morning, stay out the way at night. And, you know, it went like that, Jay.
It usually happen that way sometimes, like especially when you got things to live for and things to look forward to. So you had your wife, now your wife to look forward to. You didn't want to lose that connection. You reestablish that connection or whatever. So you had everything in the world to look forward to, and they just make the journey that much more easier for you. The easier for you to stay focused on the right things, regardless of all the chaos that's surrounding you and all the temptation, guys trying to get you to make moves and plays. You looking at the bigger picture, and you was looking at the bigger picture before your release date. So you understood that. You understood the significance of that.
It's a fact, Jay. That's a fact, man. Like it just was. I felt like it was more important, man. Like, you know, I was 34 years old, man. And, you know, probably within that whole bid, I just felt like I probably didn't grow up. Like I felt like all my growing up was gonna have to happen when I come home. If that sounds like you can understand.
Yeah,
I
I
just felt like,
understand.
in prison I did what I had to do and years had to go by. But I was like, when I come home, that's when I'm gonna have to grow up and be, I'm a man. Like I'm gonna have to
Yeah,
act like a
definitely,
man. And
definitely,
it's still
definitely.
levels to me, Jay. I'm not perfect. It's
Yeah,
still levels. Like, stuff takes a lot of time to fix, but like staying out the way in the process, trying to fix stuff and get your life together. And like you told me the other day, I think you told me when you say your growth spurts. What was that statistic you
oh,
gave me the other day when we talked?
oh yeah, we'll
Please
talk
say
about
that.
the financial prime. A financial prime of
Right,
a man is usually like in the late 50s, early 60s, the financial prime. So
right.
a lot of guys don't realize that they be trying to go hard. And I'm gonna tell you another thing, man, that a strong man must have a great woman behind him. Like,
Right.
yeah, definitely. A great woman behind you, a strong woman behind you of substance, that makes a difference, man.
That's
That
a
makes
fact, Jay, man. Like, I would have to say, man, I have to tell the people that watch this, man, like, a lot of people will say, I don't need no woman, I don't need, like this and that. And I'm speaking for guys that been in prison, that's out here, like a lot of people will say, I don't need nobody. I don't need, and it ain't about needing. It's just about guidance. It's about respect. Like a certain woman to have you respect her to the point where you're too scared to get in trouble, like, because you don't want to lose her, like, you know what I mean. And that's how I feel. Like, it's to have a woman that I know that I really don't want to lose. It helps me move better, like, you know what I mean. Guys that get with women and it'd be the bad situation, man. It'd be a bad situation. And when you got a woman that's a bad situation, it puts you back to having bad habits. It puts you back in the streets. It puts you
yeah,
back to going out every day. It puts you back to trying to do this to get the quick buck, because you got to do this with her and do that. So I don't have a materialistic wife. I don't have a wife that cares about that stuff. All she care about is me getting myself together and her situation. Like, and we just like build together. Like we both dream and we got dreams of doing this. And I love having a woman, man, that kind of like helps me through this situation, because without a good woman like this, it would have been harder for me, Jay. I ain't gonna lie to you. It would have been a little harder.
yes, most definitely. I see a lot of brothers, black men that get out
Right.
and they go back because they lose that lack of focus. They never had, like, before they got released, they never had a plan. So if you don't have a plan, what's the point of getting released? So I know everybody in the Department of Corrections don't have life sentences, but if you don't have a plan prior to getting out, it's defeating the purpose. If you've been in prison, whether it's 5 years, 5 years, 10, 15, 20, and you get out and you don't have a damn plan, what in the hell you was doing with your time? That's what I want to know. What the hell was you really doing with your time that you had that much time and you don't have a damn plan when you get on the outside? I ain't saying that you're
And you
supposed
can
to
kind of
have
see it.
all the resources and stuff like that. People understand that, but at least you can do is have a freaking plan and how you're gonna execute that plan, not a whole bunch of hot air. Yeah, at the end of the day, God will meet you halfway, but you still have to put the work in. You still have to do your part of the deal. And that's what a lot of guys don't understand. And so that's what our platforms are. We're trying to save the youth, and we're trying to save the misguided individuals. And we also, it's all about the youth. But if you're a young adult, a middle-aged man, and you need some guidance or whatever, there's nothing wrong with that. And we here for you also. So
Right. Definitely, man.
yeah,
That's why I talk to him, bro. That's why I always talk to him in the beginning and at the end. Like, people be mad, like, why you do that before? Cause, man, like, I'm gonna speak my piece. This is my platform. I'm gonna speak my piece before I do the story.
yeah,
It's
man,
about the
because
story, but it's about the message too.
facts. It's so many people in our community, Trey, that glorify prisons and glorify being in prison, glorify being that gladiator. But that gladiator is not a transferable skill that's going to get you a job on the outside. See,
Definitely.
that's the thing
Definitely.
the kids don't understand. The young teens. Oh, he was a bang. He was banging it out in there. Yeah. What application can you write that on to get you a job? Let me when you
Right.
find out, let me know. Oh, I shanked 100
Man.
people. Yeah,
Man.
that's gonna transfer. They're gonna transfer to a good job. Okay, and And another thing, if you got that reputation of being that dude that's putting people on their back, sending people out on helicopters, that ain't gonna fly on the outside. The most wimpiest guy will pull up to you and blow your brains out. The most wimpiest
And
guy.
they know that. Trust me, they should know that now. All the ones that said they was doing that in there, I hope they know that. Like, this is in prison.
It don't matter how much good you can wrestle, don't matter how good you can box, don't matter how much karate you know, the wimpiest guy will pull up on you and off you. That stuff don't
Do you
mean
dirty.
nothing on the outside.
Do you dirty.
We don't promote violence over it. We don't promote violence. I understand that men have to do what they have to do while they're incarcerated, but all that violent stuff, we don't support it on our platforms. And like I said, we're not trying to misguide the youth at any time.
We ain't doing that, Jay, man. Like, at the end of the day, like I said, I know I can't save all the young dudes, and it's hard to talk to the young dudes. So, like, at the end of the day, I can't do nothing but like just hope my message gets across to somebody that don't want to go to prison. That's all I can do, man. You know, trying to keep them out. We don't want them to go there, man. Like, going there's that's why I do the stories, and they be scary as possible, man. I get them the scary predator stories because at the end of the day, they in there. Like, they'll never be. It'll never be a shortage on predators in prison.
Never. And it's not like it was, like I said, back in the 90s and early 2000s, the finesse game now. They more strategic now. So they're gonna trick you out of your goods now.
Right. It's the finesse game.
Back in the day, they just beat you to beat it out of you until you submit to it.
I'm glad I went back in those days. Yeah. I didn't imagine. The back of those days was wild, Jay.
Yeah, but our message, stay out the way, Trey, controversial topics with Jay Stan. Like I said before, our message is to try to save many young people as we possibly can. And that's all I have. Right. Salute for coming to the platform. Man. I thank you, man.
Like,
hey, we'll be in touch.
We got to, man. Lock me in, Jay, man. We're gonna rock out, man. Because like I say, man, we trying to do the same things, man. I like to network with people, man. And, think, and try to accomplish some of the same goals I'm trying to do, man. So like, let's lock in forever, man. You already know the count.
Yeah, I got you, man. I'll hit you out off this once I get off this platform. I give you a ring real quick.
Appreciate you, man. Holler at me though, y'all. Turn me up. Turn this one up for me. Let's get it. Well, holla back, Jay. Be easy, man.
All right.
All right.